Hi, Hank. Okay, we're continuing James and the Giant Peach. And I think they all just took off in the peach out of the shark water. For some reason, they're fighting. I forget why. Let's read. James didn't want the earthworm and the centipede to get into another argument, so he quickly said to the earthworm, "Oh, they were playing music, right? The grasshopper was playing music. So, tell me, do you play any kind of music?" James asked the earthworm. "No, but I do other things, some of which are really quite extraordinary," the earthworm said, brightening. "Well, what?" James asked. "Well," the earthworm said, "next time you stand in a field or in a garden and look around you, then just remember this. Every grain of soil, every tiny bit of soil that you see has actually passed through the body of an earthworm." "Isn't that wonderful?" "That's not possible," said James. "My dear boy, it's a fact." "You mean you actually swallow soil?" "Like mad," the earthworm said proudly. "In one end, out the other." "Well, what's the point?" "What do you mean, what's the point?" "Why do you do that?" "Well, we do it for the farmers. It makes the soil nice and light and crumbly so that things will grow well. If you really want to know, the farmers couldn't do it without us. We are essential. We are vital. So it is only natural that the farmer should love us. He loves us even more, I believe, than he loves the ladybug." "The ladybug? Do they love you too?" "I am told they do," the ladybug answered. "In fact, I understand that in some places the farmers love us so much that they go out and buy live ladybugs by the sackful and take them home and set them free in their fields. They are very pleased when they have lots of ladybugs in their fields." "But why?" James asked. "Because we gobble up all the nasty little insects that are gobbling up the farmers' crops. It helps enormously, and we don't charge a penny for our services." "Well, I think you're wonderful," James told her. "Can I ask you one question?" "Please do." "Well, is it really true that I can tell how old a ladybug is by counting her spots?" "Oh, no, that's just a children's story," the ladybug said. "We never change our spots. Some of us, of course, are born with more spots than others, but we never change them. The number of spots that a ladybug has is simply a way of showing which branch of the family you belong to. I am a 9-spotted ladybug, and I am very lucky. It is a fine thing to be." "On the other hand," the ladybug went on, "some of my less fortunate relatives have no more than 2 spots. Can you imagine? They are called 2-spotted ladybugs and very common and ill-mannered as they are, I regret to say. Then, of course, you have the 5-spotted. They are much nicer than the 2-spotted." "But they are all of them loved," said James. "Well, yes," the ladybug answered. "They are all of them loved. It seems that almost everybody around her is loved. How nice this is." "Not me," cried the centipede happily. "I am a pest, and I am proud of it." "Hear, hear," said the earthworm. "But what about you, Miss Spider?" asked James. "Aren't you also much loved in the world?" "Alas, no," Miss Spider answered, sighing long and loud. "I am not loved at all, and yet I do nothing but good. All day long I catch flies and mosquitoes in my webs. I am a decent person." "I know you are," said James. "It is very unfair the way we spiders are treated," Miss Spider went on. "Why, only last week your own horrible Aunt Sponge flushed my poor dear father down the plug hole in the bathtub. Oh, how awful, cried James. I watched the whole thing from a corner up in the ceiling. It was ghastly. We never saw him again, and a large tear rolled down her cheek. But is it not very unlucky to kill a spider? James inquired. Of course it's unlucky to kill a spider, shouted the centipede. It's about the unluckiest thing anyone could do. Look what happened to Aunt Sponge after she'd done that. Bump! We all felt it, didn't we, as the peach went over her. Oh, what a lovely bump that must have been for you, Miss Spider. It was very satisfactory. Will you sing us a song about it, please? So the centipede did. And Sponge was terribly fat and tremendously flabby as that. Her tummy and waist were soggy as paste. It was worse on the place where she sat. So she said, I must make myself flat. I must make myself sleek as a cat. I shall do without dinner to make myself thinner. But along came the peach, oh, the beautiful peach, and made her far thinner than that. That was very nice, Miss Spider. Now sing one about Aunt Spiker. And Spiker was thin as a wire, and as dry as a bone, only drier. She was so long and thin. If you carried her in, you could poke her for poking the fire. Or you could use her for poking the fire. Everybody clapped and called out for more songs. Centipede, who at once launched into his favorite song of all. Once upon a time, when the pigs were swine, and monkeys chewed tobacco, and hens took snuff to make themselves tough, and the ducks said quack, 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 go, and porcupines drank fiery wines, and goats ate tapioca. Old Mother Hubbard got stuck in the cupboard. Look out, centipede! Look out! The centipede, who had just begun dancing wildly around the deck during his song, suddenly had got too close to the downward curving edge of the peach. And for 3 awful seconds he had stood teetering on the brink, swinging his legs frantically in circles in an effort to stop himself from falling over backward and into space. But before anyone could reach him, down he went. He gave a shriek of terror as he fell, and the others, rushing to the side and peering over, saw his poor long body tumbling over and over through the air, getting smaller and smaller until he was out of sight. "Silkworm!" yelled James. "Quick, start spinning!" The silkworm sighed, for she was very tired, but she did as she was told. "I'm going to go down after him," cried James, grabbing the string as it started coming out of the silkworm and tying the end of it around his waist. "The rest of you hold on to Silkworm so I don't pull her over, and later on, if you feel 3 tugs, start hauling me up again." He jumped, and he went down tumbling after Centipede. Down, 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 toward the sea below. You can imagine how quickly the silkworm had to spin to keep up with the speed of his fall. "We'll never see either of them again," cried the ladybug. Oh dear, just when we were all so happy. Miss Spider and the glowworm and the ladybug all began to cry. "I don't care a bit about the centipede, but I really did love that little boy." Very softly, Old Green Grasshopper started to play the funeral march on his violin. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, maybe that's the wrong song. I don't know. And by the time he had finished, everyone, including himself, was in a flood of tears. Suddenly, there came 3 sharp tugs. "Pull!" said the grasshopper. "Everyone get behind me and pull!" There was about a mile of string to be hauled in, but they all worked like crazy, and in the end, over the side of the Peach, there appeared a dripping wet James with a dripping wet centipede. "He saved me," gasped the centipede. "He swam around in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean until he found me." "My dear boy," said the grasshopper, "I do congratulate you." "My boots!" said the centipede. "Just look at my precious boots, ruined by the water." "Oh, be quiet," the earthworm said. "You are lucky to be alive." "Are we still going up and up and up?" said James. "We certainly are. And it's beginning to get dark." "I know. It'll soon be night. Why don't we all go down below and keep warm until tomorrow?" Miss Spider suggested. "No," said Old Green Grasshopper. "I think that would be very unwise. It will be safer if we all stay up here through the night and keep watch. Then, if anything happens, we shall anyway be ready for it." And there's a picture of them hauling up. Right? So next time we'll find out what happens in the nighttime. Night, night. I love you.